We have not niched down, but then I will say that, yeah, I have run into some other firms too that they do, they don't necessarily niche down, but they have specific even social medias for different case types. So, for instance, if they're going after like bicyclists, bicycle people who have had bicycle accidents and being more present in that community, let's say, they might have specific socials just for that and really have gotten, I guess, niche down in terms of trying to build content that would be interesting to those different groups.
Sharp strategies, sweet success.
Hello and welcome to Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success. This is your host, Tiffany Swedensky, and today I'm talking to Trudy Emlaw. I've known Trudy kind of a few steps removed, almost like a Kevin Bacon scenario, because one of my clients coaches with Mike Morse and Fireproof, so I hear a lot about Trudy and the marketing programs you've implemented for them and just all the amazing stuff that that law firm is doing that you've helped with. And I'm very excited and happy to have you here on the show. And I'm going to turn it over to her so she can finish out her introduction.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me. So, my background, I started out as I was selling advertising. I guess initially I started my career at Fox Sports for a couple of years as a sales assistant. Went up and decided I wanted to do sales myself. So, I sold advertising, TV and digital advertising for Comcast Spotlight at the time. It's now Effective TV. From there, I was there 9 years approximately. And then Mike Morse was actually a client of mine. I was planning to take a couple years. I had some little ones, take a couple years at home, but when I went to tell them I was leaving, they actually, John Knockhazel, offered me a position with the firm. Just, he said, even if you come on part-time, we'd love to have you. So I ended up being hired by John and Michael to come on and do their media buying. So I did that for 4 to 5 years, buying TV and billboards and digital, of course. And then during that time, took on some community events. And then eventually that led to the marketing director position and then eventually onto the CMO and ended up spending about 11 years at Mike Morse Law Firm.
Well, that's awesome. Well, so I guess just right off the bat, and I've actually been thinking about this, but can you tell us a little bit more about what media buying is like for, particularly for like TV and billboards? I'm curious about that. And I haven't done media buying myself for TV or billboards. Some of the firms I've been a part of have done that. And so I really just see the data. But I'm curious, like from the media buyer's perspective, like what that looks like, how that works, what you're looking for, just whatever you can tell me.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I spend a lot of money. When I was at Mike Morse, we spent a big percentage of the budget was on TV. It's where the firm got their start, really. I mean, that's the big platform that they launched on and the firm was grown on. So, yeah, it's in Detroit. We have a handful of stations and look at impressions and how different programs do and how they resonate with the target demographic and the audience that we're going after. And it's a lot of negotiation and figuring out, the best placements and those kinds of things. And then Billboard, it's all about placement, where the location, the size of the board, the uniqueness. There's so many nuances to that. And radio as well as kind of falls in that same kind of similar to TV, I guess, in a way.
Huh. It's amazing to me that radio is still a thing. Anytime I forget my phone and I get in my car, I'm forced to listen to FM radio, and I'm just like, and then people play ads on there, and some of them are pretty good. Top Dog, I think I've heard them do a few radio ads, interestingly. So, and maybe you answered this and I just didn't quite get it, but you said you analyzed like impressions for like the audience or the station or the placement. When you're doing like a lot of media buying, are you like looking at the individual ads and saying like, oh, this quarter we ran this ad and saw this change? Are you doing that kind of analysis as well?
Yes, to a certain level. And you can really do that on the digital side with things like OTT and CTV, where you can see like this ad was served and it led to this many form fills on your website. There's a pixel and it keeps track of all that stuff. So you can do that a lot there. We have done When I was at Mike Morse, we had done reporting on like when we ran certain commercials, which ones got the most calls come in around that time that the commercial ran. We have done some analysis like that and then tweaked our ad copy or our commercials based on that kind of data of what performed best. We could adjust the commercials based on that.
And are you guys like developing the commercial scripts and content plan in-house, or is it like a combination thing?
A lot of that is the creative agency, but yes, there is definitely the information is flowing between the information and ideas, I guess I should say, is flowing between the creative agency and then in-house.
Yeah. Well, and one question that's maybe kind of niche, I don't know, but so like you're working with a creative agency, are you, and they're, I'm assuming they're doing the visuals and the copy for you, is that right?
Yeah, so they shoot the video and they do any kind of graphics or anything that's going on in the video, they're producing that too. So they do everything from writing the scripts, they come in, we do several pre-pro meetings, making sure the scripts are perfect. And then when it comes time for the shoot day, everything should be all set. We always end up changing stuff, and all of a sudden there's another script added to the batch that we write the day of. But yeah, they do all the shooting, the editing, any kind of graphics or anything that are used in the spot. That's what they're doing.
And what was your favorite commercial from Mike Morse and the creatives that you guys ran?
Yeah, well, Ambulance Chaser by far is like the favorite of all favorites for just the public. I had a great time. We did an NIL campaign and it was a lot of fun. We had Donovan Edwards from U of M and Dylan Tatum, who was at Michigan State at the time. We also had a sprinter from U of M, Brianna Bates, and Nikki Taylor, a gymnast from MSU. It was just a fun campaign. I mean, the athletes were awesome, and we made a lot of great content with for social media and obviously for TV. We did a whole photo shoot and did some billboard stuff. It was really robust and a ton of work. I was exhausted by the end of it, running around doing all the things. It was a tight schedule that day, but super fun.
So you mentioned social media, so I gotta ask, is there a particular platform that you pay attention to more than the others, or are you giving them kind of equal treatment?
I would say no on the equal treatment. Facebook and Instagram are really where we would focus the most of our energy. But LinkedIn really was definitely getting attention as well. Twitter, some, TikTok, of course, YouTube. So, yeah, they all definitely got attention, but Facebook is where we had the biggest following and then followed by Instagram.
Yeah. Did you guys ever get into like TikTok videos and making like cute things? Have you guys tried that?
We have tried that. We had a phase when I was there. Yeah, we definitely had a phase of trying the dances and stuff. We decided that wasn't our thing. So we moved on to doing different types of content, but we went through the dancing phase for sure.
I know for I've done like maybe one or two trends, and every time I like see a dance in particular, I'm not very graceful. I think about myself doing that, and then I'm like, no, no, I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
I think in theory it sounded really good. And then it was like once we started doing it, it's like, how does anybody take us seriously after we've done that? So, yeah.
I do see some attorneys getting silly and making some good content there, but like it has to fit like who you are and who's, the star of the video and who's making it and stuff like that. A lot of law firm owners just can't see themselves getting into a TikTok and unless they're taking it very, very seriously, which unfortunately doesn't, that's not what TikTok is for. TikTok isn't for taking things seriously.
Yeah, completely agree. It works for some and for others, it's just not their cup of tea. So,
Well, I got to ask this question partially because somewhere down the road I'm giving a talk on AI and marketing. And so, just broad strokes, I guess I have a few things I'm going to ask you. I'm just going to ask you all of them at once. So, like, one, how has AI changed the way, like, you as a CMO, like, operated the firm? That's one. Two, how do you see like AI search impacting your strategies? Like, are you thinking about pivoting your firm or your firms away from SEO, or what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so as far as changing the way we operate, I see it as a tool. It's a great tool. It has helped really speed up some of the work, especially when it comes to content. I look forward to being able to utilize it in more ways beyond content, but content creation, at least in marketing, for me, has really been where I've seen the most progress and efficiencies. And then in terms of AI search and the impact, no, I'm not going away from SEO, traditional SEO. Yes, things are changing and we're changing kind of the way the content is structured on our landing pages. I do think that the firms that have built brands will fare better, at least initially, with AI. That's some of the conversations I'm having with the SEO team that I work with. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on AI and search and the impact there, but excited to see where that all goes.
Yeah, and I was just talking to a law firm earlier this week, and there are actually two, like one this week and one last week, and both were at a point where they're really just getting started with marketing. One of them was an attorney who somehow connected with me on Reddit, and we did a Zoom meeting, and it was actually a decent sized firm, never built a website, never did any marketing, none of this, and they're asking like what should we do? And they didn't really even have a brand to speak of.
Hmm.
And I that was my advice to both these firms is like you really need to focus on the brand building and mention it, having your website, or I'm sorry, having your brand name mentioned outside of your website on other people's websites. And it's more difficult to do than getting a backlink, and it requires like more internal work. It's hard for an agency to get a good organic mention of a brand elsewhere. And so, yeah, it's interesting that you say that because I mean, and I hear it a lot. Brand is like the new thing driving AI in a big way.
Yeah, I think just in terms of the other websites, one small thing that firms can do is, and I think this is pretty well known, but utilize your Google reviews to help with getting some of those keywords. And I know what I've heard anyway is that is one key area that AI and LLMs are pulling from. So make sure when you're responding that you're using responses that have personal injury terms and keywords in them and encourage people that are leaving reviews to use keywords if you can. So
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about like where you're going, what you're doing now. Just clue our listeners in a little bit.
yeah, so after 11 years at Mike Morse Law Firm, and very proud of all the work that we accomplished there, and grateful to Michael and John for all the opportunity and leadership that they gave me. I I got the opportunity to move on to another firm that's out of state. They're in a few states, so I will be taking my decade plus of experience and applying it to the new challenges at that firm.
Multi-state, that's really cool. I'm excited about that. I mean, for you, I don't get to participate, but yeah, that's really neat. Is there like a book, a manual, or something that like if a marketer is interested in learning about media buying, particularly like TV and billboards, like where can they go just to start learning about it?
Gosh, that is a really good question because I never had a book or anything. I just kind of learned it. If it wasn't anything that I referred to a book or anything, I started my career as a sales assistant, but I worked for sellers of media. So back in the day, I mean, years and years ago, I was talking impressions, and it just was something that I think, more mentorship taught me than anything. I actually don't have a resource, maybe ChatGPT.
Oh, no.
But no, I don't have a resource to send people to. It's just kind of, I think, learning what if you can get your hands on like impressions that programs deliver, stuff like that, and what the cost is for them, you can start looking at CPMs and what makes sense. But it was kind of just, like I said, more of a mentorship thing from others, how I learned it versus a textbook.
Yeah. And I've been asked that before about like digital marketing things, like where'd you learn about that? And honestly, it's like websites and messing around on a website and trying to set something up and a lot of trial and error. And I think a lot of people learn that way. And yeah, I was looking for a book on media buying because I was just like, where do I go to start? Maybe I will go to ChatGPT, YouTube, or something like that now. And I feel like that's just where a lot of people's minds go to. It's like, where do I go to start learning about this? And book, we haven't quite programmed ourselves to go to ChatGPT yet, or at least I
Yeah.
haven't, not first.
There's a lot of nuances around it. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day about it was a media buyer that was being interviewed, and I found it interesting what was being said, being that that was a lot of my background, but so many nuances to like agency discount and in-house agencies and negotiation and how much room there is for negotiation. And it's a fun, I mean, it gives me kind of a thrill, I guess, doing it, placing buys and going through the negotiation. I have always enjoyed that part of the job. So,
It's honestly, it sounds like it's a little more honest than like Google Ads, where you're just billed, what Google Ads bills you. And
I don't know about that.
oh, really?
There's a lot of room for negotiation usually in some of these buys and getting things thrown in and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely more of a relationship. I feel like with Google, it's so transactional. It's like we served you this and you pay this, and that's how it goes. But yeah, it's definitely, there's more back and forth, if you will.
I feel like that would be frustrating, but I guess you'd have to be the type of person who kind of likes to go back and forth on a thing like that. And there's so many nuance. The only kind of media buying I'm familiar with, I mentioned earlier, is Google Ads. And I probably said this on the podcast before, so sorry to my listeners who are bored with it, but I did it for hotel for like a little while, like about a year or so. And it's so interesting how different Google Ads is for that kind of business versus a law firm. And I imagine media buying is kind of the same way. There's different ballpark for law firms. Actually, something else I kind of wanted to know about you and your firms. So, how far has your personal injury practice like niched down? Are you guys like looking for all types of car accidents? Or are you guys putting out there like you're looking for a specific type of person, specific type of accident? Like, are you guys niching down at all there?
No, very broad. I mean, we'll take in if any type of car accident or accident, auto accident, truck accident, motorcycle accident. So no, not, I would not say niching down in terms of the case type. I have talked to some firms where they're really focused on like motorcycle accidents or something like that, but no, there's no niching down, I guess, in terms of the type of accident.
So about niching down, it's kind of comical to me because as a fractional, I'm sitting in on a lot of SEO meetings and I've done the thing where we move from one company to another. And the new SEO company, or even a new account manager, if you get a new account manager, all of my clients are personal injury attorneys, and the account manager always asks, like, so what types of case are you looking for? And what's funny is every single attorney I worked for who answers that question is like, well, I'm just looking for anyone who's been injured and goes to the hospital. And not all of my clients have an accident. I guess feel bad that I did that. And it got me wondering, like SEO companies ask that so much. It's like, are there PI firms outside of motorcycle accidents, which is kind of its own thing, that are really that niche down? Because it's my impression most car accident firms are like that, where they're just like, I'm going to take an accident where somebody is injured, the insurance is good, and they weren't at fault. Anyway, so I was just curious if you guys have talked about niching down or if you're like, okay, we're going to focus on a certain demographic. And really, like when you think about it for a personal injury firm, that kind of thing doesn't make sense to me, but I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, definitely. We have not niched down, but then I will say that, yeah, I have run into some other firms too that they do, they don't necessarily niche down, but they have specific even social medias for different case types. So, for instance, if they're going after like bicyclists, bicycle people who have had bicycle accidents and being more present in that community, let's say, they might have specific socials just for that and really have gotten, I guess, niche down in terms of trying to build content that would be interesting to those different groups. So I've seen more than necessarily like niching down in terms of we're only going to look for this type of case.
Man, that is something I've seen other companies do, and it just didn't make the connection. But like, yeah, if you're, like you said, bicycle attorney, you can tap into the bicyclist community on Instagram and TikTok and just make memes and that type of content, and probably get more engagement than a legal FAQ or just a generic post from a law firm page. That's a really good idea. I hadn't thought about that.
I thought it was a great idea too. The other place my brain goes is you have to have a huge social media team to be able to have all those different platforms that you're posting on. But with AI, it makes it a little easier to be able to post multi-platform like that.
Yeah. Yeah, AI's made a lot of things easier. I'm seeing a lot on AI video, and it's weird because, like, on Instagram, I see a lot of people hating on AI video. And then I go to a platform like LinkedIn and I talk to business owners, and some of them adopt the AI video. And it's one of the things, like, people tell you, it's like, oh, it's actually really good. And then, like, I look at it and it's like, are we looking at the same thing? Like, I, but not to be mean about it.
No, I completely agree. And you're so right in terms of there's definitely haters. It might be just me, but it seems like some of the 20 somethings are like anti doing everything with it or younger. I mean, I have a 14-year-old son and he's like, oh, AI, you're doing, you know what I mean? So, and then, but yeah, on LinkedIn, I feel like it's welcomed and even appreciated. So I guess it just to each their own.
Well, and the proof is in the pudding. When businesses start using AI video, we'll start to see what the real results of it are. And I'm always happy to be proven wrong because AI video, it's so damn hard to get these attorneys behind the camera, at least some of the ones that I work with. And they're busy, no, I not knocking them for being lazy. It's just hard to find the time. I even struggle with it. And AI video is definitely a shortcut, I suppose, but the kind of the proof is in the pudding. And my 14-year-old is the same way, by the way. It's like, oh, AI, like, that's so lame. But I lit her up because I went into her bedroom one night and she was using ChatGPT, and I'm like, what are you asking ChatGPT? And she was like, what role Mercutio served in Romeo and Juliet? And I'm like, girl, you better know that. Like, you better. Like, I can't believe it. You don't know that. You go back and read it. I was so mad at her. I was like, just go watch the movie. Go watch the
Yeah.
movie.
No, that's funny. I will tell you, the same situation happened with me and my 14-year-old when he was struggling with something, I think it was math related. And I'm like, do, put it into ChatGPT. And it explains, of course, like how to solve the problem, not just the answer, but like how to solve the problem. So that shut him up real quick when he was like, oh.
So we're coming up on time, and so I got to ask, was there anything that we didn't end up talking about that you wanted to go over?
No, not really. I mean, one of the topics I talk about a lot is community events and things like that. I don't know. Tiffany, we don't have that. That would be a whole nother cup of tea. So I guess the answer is no.
Well, so like I will say, like, and I feel I'm kicking myself a little bit for not asking. I asked a lot about the mass media and didn't ask about that, but like, yeah, like the community marketing that you guys are doing, I really admire it. I've had to implement some of it kind of based on what you guys have done for sure. It's always really smart. And it's kind of the key to the whole brand building thing, like you mentioned earlier. But yeah, if you're curious about some of the stuff that they've done, I guess go visit their Mike Morse's website, LinkedIn, whatever. And as somebody who has implemented it on some of these programs, it does indeed work. It doesn't seem, if you're really focused on the ROI and the dollars for dollar, maybe it doesn't seem like it, but like I'll attest to that. So I'll say that much, about community marketing. I should have asked you more about that.
No, it has been really great for Mike Morse Law Firm and what it's done not only for the brand, but obviously just being more present in the community. And when you have a lot of national players that are coming into your market, it's something that definitely makes the firm stand out and show that it's a local firm that is real and there and being part of the fabric of the community versus just in the community to make a quick buck and that's it. So
Yeah.
yeah, definitely been a big part of what I did at Mike Morse Law Firm and would love to carry that through because I have seen how it works and does so well for the brand.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for being a guest. Really loved having you on. Felt like we had a really good conversation. Where do you want people to go look you up and learn more about you?
Yeah, just LinkedIn. You can look me up on LinkedIn, Trudy Emlaw, and that's probably the best place to find me.
Well, thanks so much again. And everyone, we'll talk to you soon. Check out Trudy, follow her journey. I guarantee, particularly the marketers, you're just going to learn a lot. And thank you so much again. And
Yeah,
we'll see everyone soon.